discretion is advised.
Hey everyone, this video is brought to you by Audible. Audible is offering you a free audiobook with a 30-day free trial membership. All you need to do is go to audibletrial.com/BG Unlocked. The link is in the description below, and now enjoy the video. Hey everyone, welcome back to Board Games Unlocked, and Brad and I are doing our top 10 games of the decade. Yep, that's right, the decade is almost over, and there have been some fantastic games throughout these past 10 years. So, I mean, we did it in, at least I did it from 2010 to 19. Like,
yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
Yeah, because clearly we wouldn't have 2020. So what we did is we picked what, at least, here's how I did it. I took every year and I looked at kind of the best game or the most influential game of that year. Kind of combined them, and then I ordered them in order of my favorite. So, like, how I picked them, because there are some, like, from a certain year that I'm like, well, clearly that's my favorite game, but I don't think it's as good or influential in that year. So I picked this game, and then once I had my 10, then I was like, okay, from order of how I like them, from 10 to 1. And there's no honorable mention, because we did one per year.
What I did is I picked... it was close to what you did. I picked my favorite game of each year.
Okay.
And then I kind of have a couple in mind of other games that were influential.
Mm-hmm.
And then I ordered them in order from worst year to best year.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. All right.
I'm saying, like, we'll see. I'll explain when
Sure.
we're going. It's easier to understand.
Now, you said you kind of... You wrote down games that were also from
I wrote some other ones just
to
kind of explain why that year was
perfect.
where it was,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah,
I mean,
that totally works out.
And you'll probably,
I'm excited because, like, this year, like, there were definitely some years better than others.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And some were, like, whenever I was looking at the games, I was like, oh, man, there's, like, 13 there that were, like, fantastic, and crap, well... Which one was which one stood out above the rest? It definitely, for me, it got harder as the years increased. Well, actually, I think it was more like really hard early, then like in the middle, like kind of like 13 to 15, and then 16 to 19. It was like almost in sections. But we'll definitely talk about it as we go on. But let's go ahead and get started. So number 10 for me is my 2011 pick, and that is Letters from Whitechapel. Oh, I think we'll have 1, 2,
3. Are we talking crossover?
Crossover.
Years?
I think we'll have 3. No.
Or
well, I guess they would have to be the years because they're from we picked from the year. I think we'll have 3 crossovers.
I'll just say 2.
2,
because I don't know. I mean, years are hard to cross over, honestly.
So from 2011, my pick was Letters from Whitechapel. And I think here's the interesting part is I didn't start. You were gaming throughout these years, right?
I started board gaming in 93.
Okay.
92, 93.
You started board gaming when I was born. So I didn't start board gaming until about 2013, 2014. Kind of like freshman year of college is kind of whenever I picked it up. So there was a couple of years that I missed out, but I've played a lot of games from those years. So Letters from Whitechapel, if you don't know, is a hidden movement game centered around Jack the Ripper. One person plays Jack the Ripper and has, out of a whole bunch of numbers, he picks his hiding spot, and the other people play the detectives that are trying to catch him. It's kind of one of your earlier iterations of a hidden movement. Like, I know there were Shadows over Camelot. That was more hidden roll than hidden movement. Yeah, it was hidden roll.
Fury of Dracula was...
Oh, they had the certain editions.
I don't know when the first edition came out.
Yeah, I don't remember. I remember their second edition, and I only played the third edition. So, yeah, you're right, but...
It was still
relatively new, and I think Letters from Whitechapel still, after 8 years, holds up really well. Like, it's kind of your box standard. There's no special... I mean, he has kind of some special tokens he can use, but no special abilities, except with the expansion that came out, like, a couple years ago. And, like, he like where he's gonna start, but he has so many like moves that he can make to try and get to his hideout, and there's still that really good semblance of like the detectives trying to figure out where he goes, trying to coordinate with all 5 of them because there's always going to be 5 detectives, and then Jack just it simply writes where he's moving. He has a certain number of moves that he can take, and he can wait before to try and like move the detectives around. And I think it's still one of the best. Like, funny enough, 8 years later, hidden movement doesn't really seem to be as prevalent. I feel like there was a stint where it was like Spectre Ops, Fury of Dracula.
Spectre Ops was like one of the last big ones.
Well, Hunt for the Ring came out, but that wasn't. I don't feel like that was as big. Anomaly came out in 2019. That's right. That's pretty good. So I really enjoy hidden movement. So from 2011, that's kind of the game I picked. So that's my number 10.
All right, my number 10 comes from the year of 2013.
Okay.
And it's
I'm kind of looking and seeing which one I picked.
It's Viniculture.
Yeah.
Yeah. I put this, because the Viniculture Essential Edition, the one I own, came out 2 years later, but
okay.
The Viniculture came out right then. I put it down here. Viniculture is a great game. Winemaking. It's worker placement.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, very elegant. I put it down here because, like I said, this is my pick of this year. This year was probably my least favorite year.
2011?
Overall. 2013.
2013, sorry.
Because it had like Caverna, Firefly, Euphoria were really the only other ones.
Euphoria was almost, yeah.
So like Viticulture to me was the cream of that crop.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of, from the games I played, it was kind of the weakest year, pretty significantly the weakest year.
You ordered them from worst year to best year. Okay, that's gonna be interesting. I'm excited.
So
I'm excited for that.
We'll have to delineate that because since we did it kind of different,
right,
a little bit. But yeah, so what I did again is I picked my best favorite game of each year, but then I ordered them from the worst complete year to the best complete year.
Yeah.
So my number 1 is going to have the most top-notch games.
Okay.
But I have one that'll stand out, obviously.
Right.
So, like Viticulture, I guess. Like I said, worker placement, winemaking.
Mm-hmm.
It was, I think it was was it Stegmaier? Yeah, I guess it was. Stegmaier came out with it and Euphoria the same year.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was a good year for him kind of getting out there,
Yeah, you're kind of right with 2013. Like,
yeah, you look down that list of numbers, it's just really not.
Yeah, a lot of. I think that was also a year for a lot of expansions.
Yeah.
But yeah, like with that was also Viticulture was also the year that, or the first game that they did their Automa variant. So
yep. But so anyway, that's my number 10.
It's funny for 2013 because I have the Essential Edition ranked, and essentially how I can pinpoint what I've played is because I usually have it ranked. It's not ranked for me because I have the Essential, so it didn't show up.
I know.
So
I noticed that
because I see Euphoria and I was like, yeah, okay. But Viticulture is literally right above it. I missed it.
It doesn't have me as owning Viticulture itself because I own the Essential
Edition. Yep.
So they have as 2 different listings on which I guess I should because they are 2 different.
They are different games.
But anyway, the first iteration of Viticulture is what I put down there just because of the basic gameplay. But yep, so 2013 Viticulture was my number 10.
Good deal. My number 9 came from the year of 2015. This was, I think, one of the first top 10s that I did. Maybe. No, 2014 was. But I know this for sure won't be on your list, but this game was so influential, especially we're still seeing it today. It's the genre's dying off a little bit because no one's really doing as good of a job, but it's Pandemic Legacy Season 1. Regardless of if you like Pandemic or not, you have to at least understand that Legacy kind of kicked off the whole genre and did a really good job with it. I know Risk Legacy was out at the before then,
right?
But it kind of had that. Well, I don't really want to play Risk, because Risk is for plebs or something. I still actually think Risk is pretty good, but it was one that they already took a well-liked, good game and then just was able to transform it into something different that no one's really ever heard of. What, you cut cards and you write on the board? And there was a controversy of like, how can you do that? Like, why would you spend the money to destroy something? It's like, but you, what? Like, so, and for me, I thought Pandemic Legacy Season 1 is the best, before Season 2 and stuff like that. And for being in 2015, like, I mean, it flew to the top 100, like, number 1. Never agreed with that, but it, like, because you only played, like, the first 3 months, and I would agree, it's pandemic up until it, but there's a point where it's just like, boom, and then it just opens up, and then you have this sprawling, like, unique story, or not unique story, but unique board that, based off of the decisions that you made. It was such a fun experience, one of the first series that I ever did for the channel, so that was another thing of kind of why I picked it, but this one was just, it's so much fun. I've never gone through and done it again, like I don't think I would, but I'm very excited for Season 3, which will be the ending of the Pandemic Legacy kind of saga. But yeah, it was just super influential and a huge blast to play, even though it got very, very hard towards the end. So that's my number 9.
All right, my number 9 comes from the year of 2010. And the game that I picked out of this year was Seven Wonders.
Okay.
Both because it is my favorite game and because it was a pioneer of sorts. Card drafting. It had been used, but not to this extent. And this was also one of the games that made it large player count seamless with you can, any other of the games. You throw 7 players in, it would take so much longer. Seven Wonders with 7 players takes the exact amount of time, almost as it does with 3 or 4. You know.
Yep.
Civilization card drafting, and it's very simplistic. A lot of symbols. But it kind of started. There a lot of card drafting games came after. And started using kind of that. Take one pass to the right, and then the next round you're going to take one pass to the left. And some of the other games that year, of note, it was kind of another bit of a weaker year, but like Defenders of the Realm came out that year.
I'm surprised you didn't pick that one.
Seven Wonders was more, I think groundbreaking.
More. Yep, I would agree.
That's why I kind of chose it, because Defenders of the Realm used that pandemic deal.
That's true. That is true.
It was with a fantasy skin on it, I guess. So
that's
had
true.
A little bit more, but I put Ascension as another one. It kind of used that. It was the next step up from Dominion as being that 1v1 deck building.
Yeah, you're right.
Thing.
You're right.
But Seven Wonders to me was the one that kind of was the most influential at that time. It's had games use its. It was like like I said, Defenders use pandemic stuff. Like other games are using Seven Wonders.
Yeah,
like Blood Rage. Any game that uses card
drafting,
is going to be like that. So
I mean, hell, and 9 years ago, I mean, almost 10 years ago, Seven Wonders is still like number 40 out of the top 100.
It's stayed. It's just
still staying strong.
Yep.
So all right,
still
good deal.
Getting support too.
That is true. The Armada expansion just came out, which is actually pretty good. Have you played it yet?
I have not. I don't know. That's the one.
Okay, it's pretty good.
I haven't got it.
I think their weakest one is Babel.
I haven't gotten it because I bought the wooden organizer that holds everything up to Babel, and now it won't hold anything past that. So I'm like, I haven't bought it because I don't want
to. So my number 8 is our first crossover. It is from 2010, Seven Wonders.
Oh, okay, cool.
Like I mean, when I went through 2010, I was like, yeah, I mean, without a doubt, is it my favorite game from that year? I mean, it might very well be, but Merchants and Marauders was 2010. I think that one's a lot of fun too, like probably the epitome of a pirate game. But like I mentioned, Seven Wonders was, I think also funny enough around that time, like because I was listening to the Dice Towers, they're doing a decade in review. They mentioned Alien Frontiers was on Kickstarter, so this was kind of when Kickstarter was still
that was the first big board game Kickstarter.
Yeah, so it's like that would have been probably more influential. But I didn't know that at the time. But I still think Seven Wonders was like card drafting done right. If it wasn't, and I don't know what games have done it kind of before, but Now it's just like you can attribute card drafting almost to Seven Wonders and like the epitome of what good card drafting is. And like you mentioned, any number of players this game works fantastic with. Hell, I'll even say it's really good with 2. So not ideal, but it still works pretty well. Like it's kind of a weaker year. One of the games that is on this list that I really want to play is Vinos. Vito Losardo's game. Yeah. But that came out. That probably would have been my pick had I played it. But they also did BattleCon was in this year. So, and I like BattleCon, but like Seven Wonders, like you said, it pioneered that, and it's still, I mean, not like the way that kind of like the hype for games just drops or extends so rapidly that it's like, wow, this game's the best ever. Then it dies off and no one talks about it. Everyone's always wanting the newest thing. For Seven Wonders to 1 still be talked about, 2 still get support, and 3 be like 40 or 50 in the top 100. Yeah, that says a lot. So that's my number 8, Seven Wonders.
All right, my number 8 is going to go to 2011.
Okay.
So we'll see. And the game I chose out of that was Blood Bowl Team Manager.
Oh, gross. No, I've never played it.
It's really fun.
Yeah. I remember you talking about it quite a bit.
It is, and the reason I chose it stands out because it was kind of a new form of deck builder.
Okay.
Like all the other deck builders that were out around this time with Dominion and Ascension and stuff like that, where, you'd play your cards, you'd buy stuff, go, and it go in your discard pile. And what Blood Bowl Team Manager did is it became a competitive area control thing where you had your games out there that you were playing, and then you would gain stars that you would go into your deck by how you did out there. So it was kind of it was a new version of deck building. And then games have taken that a little bit, like with like the baseball highlights and the football highlights, decided to kind of do the same stuff.
Yeah.
And then it was also, if you think about card games, and I think in 2011, there wasn't too many games that used cards to battle for smash up style.
Sure.
At a deal for area control out there,
Yeah.
So that was another one of those. And we're using a football theme, it's just kind of a...
That's true. Fantasy football.
Right.
Like true fantasy football.
Other games that came out this year, and the reason it's right here, the Lord of the Rings LCG came out right here.
I'm pulling up the year.
Yeah. That was the first and still running LCG.
Yeah.
I guess maybe not the first. The original Game of Thrones, I think, came out. I can't remember. But anyway... and then Game of Thrones, the board game.
Yep.
Those were 2 that I kind of put on here as being other things that bolstered that year a little bit. There were others.
Because that was before. That was before. I think the show Game of Thrones, the show came out.
8 seasons. They took a year off in between.
Maybe it started the same time.
It was around the same year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because I'm looking at it, because I have a lot of games ranked in here, but they're all subpar for me. Like Mage Knight, the board game.
Right.
Like that one was kind of revolutionary because it was like a gamer's game. It was pretty heavy when it came out. You mentioned Lord of the Rings as a card game. That one really took off and got support up until I think they're done now finally.
I don't know if they are.
If not, I think they soon will be.
Yeah.
But Mansions of Madness First Edition, was really good at the time, and then clearly the Second Edition.
And stuff.
Yeah, then Elder Sign was on here. Hell, even some that I haven't played, but that a lot of people praised it for at that time. Eclipse was done, and Castles of Burgundy.
Right.
Where all these games...
Castles of Burgundy, I think, was the highest ranked one, or Eclipse is one of the 2.
Let's see.
BGG has it.
Castles of Burgundy is at 15 on board game ranking.
Yeah.
Eclipse is 40. So 2011 was actually that was kind of where everyone was kind of do everything, and then you had a lot of companies that were trying new things, and that's kind of where I feel like 2010 as kind of maybe your staples, and then 2011 just kind of that was your uphill climb.
Right.
So good deal. Yeah, a lot of variety.
And actually, 2011 is when Fantasy Flight kind of started
making a name for themselves.
Yeah, because with the that the LCG model was new around that time with that, and then of course Blood Bowl and stuff
right,
like that.
right.
Because they were generally, they did IP games before that with like Battlestar and stuff.
Battlestar Galactica came out before then.
But this was when they really started perfecting that LCG model.
Yep.
And stuff too.
That's a good point. My number 7 came from the year of 2014, and I will be very, very, very surprised if you did not pick the same game, and that is Orleans. It came out in 2014. This one was absolutely kind of revolutionary in terms of the bag building. Like, I can't... And keep in mind that, like, whenever I'm doing games of the decade is, like, I'm not this isn't my job, so I wasn't especially well-versed in, like, all the games and stuff before. And so, but to me... like, the bag building aspect was almost never heard of yet. Deck building, especially 4 years prior, deck building was well done. And it was a neat twist on kind of that same idea, but made it more fresh. And with Orleans, you had just that, okay, well, I'm gonna build my bag, and I'm gonna slowly try and whittle it down just like you would, and then just have this very, very solid game mechanisms for this in a Euro game. Like, so you had multiple ways to get victory points, multiple paths to victory. The really neat thing about it was, like, kind of like the event thing was you had time to prepare for it versus just like, oh, okay, this is what happens, got to deal with it. So just everything just worked really well in this. And I mean, the reason why I picked it, one, it's my favorite game from that year, and two, I think bag building was just such a new concept.
Right.
It's like, ooh. So that's my number 7, Orleans. 2014.
All right. My number 7 is from 2017.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Excuse me. This was hard for me to pick. A fate like my one that stood out.
Yep.
I picked Dinosaur Island. As my standout.
Okay.
Spirit Island. When you on BGG, you type in stuff that came out in 2017. It has it coming out in 2017, but then the date next to it 2018. So I don't.
Oh, really?
So I don't know if it's what it is. I put Spirit Island as a thing that came out that year too. This War of Mine, Altiplano, Gloomhaven. That Gloomhaven's probably the most notorious one that came out this year. Sure. I don't care for it, but I put it on this just because that's...
Yeah. I mean, it's the number one game of all time now.
I chose Dinosaur Island because I know there's been games that have done this before, but this is one game, to me, that shows... It's like... 3 games, like 3 individual games that they smushed into one game. So the first entire section of the game is you do all that. That's how I even teach it.
Yeah,
I just run through the first part. Then you guys solid with the first part. Then you go through the second part for the worker placement. Yep. Action selection stuff. Do that, and then it's the bag. Drawing from the bag, and
I'm just looking for 2017.
No. That's
this year. I'm surprised this is not higher because you ranked them in order of years, and you're at 7.
Well, so. it's mainly, I have some pretty solid stuff coming up. But anyway, but Dinosaur Island's the one I chose just because of it being so. I don't know the word. I can't think of the word. It's like.
So congruent with like all of its segments.
It's different types. It's like you wouldn't think they would go together. There's dice selection, and stuff, and then there's worker placement with meeples and your scientists and action selection, and then there's bag pulling from a bag and placing. So there's 3 totally different kinds of games shoved together,
into one,
and tile placement.
Yep.
On your own board, and stuff.
I mean, in just Steam alone, they just did it so right. Yeah,
but and like I said, I mean, it's a really good year. But if I loved Gloomhaven, then it would be really high. Yeah, I mean, I put it on this just to show. And Altiplano is good, not super strong. So I was mainly putting it up, looking at Dinosaur Island, and Spirit Island as the.
I'm just going through the first page of Board Game Geek, and I have at least like 30 here that are not like that are ranked, and I'm just like 2017, here's the thing about 2017, is that all the games that came out that year feel like they came out this year. Like
Yeah.
that's kind of how, like, because you know how like some games can like show their age, or you're like, yeah, this kind of feels like a 2012 game or something. Like here, it's just like god damn, like 2017 was so good. So good deal. I mean, if you even look at it, like most of these games are in the top 100.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, awesome. That's a good choice. So. My number 6 is from the year of 2018, and in 2018, like you would think, here, actually, let me pull up 2018 on my sweet ass phone, because the game that I initially would have picked, this is why I didn't quite pick my favorites from the year, because I would have picked something different from 2018, but this game is also fantastic. Like, it's not like I just picked the most influential game. But, so the game that I picked from 2018 is Root. So with Root, I mean, other games from that year, Rising Sun, Nemesis, Everdell, Teotihuacan, like, all those games, like are just phenomenal. And, I mean, Rising Sun and Teotihuacan, I give 10s out of 10s, and Root, I have it as a 9.5. But I think, besides those games, is Teotihuacan, there's been dice worker placement. In Rising Sun, well, it's kind of a spiritual successor to Blood Rage. It just has negotiation. So, like, with Root, it was just one of the first games that I had played that did asymmetrical gameplay so well. Like, every faction plays completely different, but you also have the same end goal, get 30 victory points.
Right.
Versus Vast, where it was like, oh, the knight has to kill the dragon has to escape, and it's all fucking weird and overly long, and because I played Vast again, like, a couple weeks ago.
I saw you were selling it again.
It still didn't work. Like, because I the first time I played it, it was like a group, and I'm like, maybe it was that. Mm-hmm. It still didn't work. It was better, but Root Leader Games just perfected the formula. Every faction is 100% unique, feels different to play the game, but still same goal. And I think that's the key. Same goal, 30 victory points. They're now doing expansions. The expansions are also 100% unique and balanced with a number of players, different groups of like who's going to play what. It felt so fresh. Like, and I remember when Vast came out, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, it's asymmetrical." But like, I feel like it kind of died pretty quickly. But with Root, I think it's still going strong. And I mean, granted, it's only been a year because it's 2019. That was last year. But this was in a year of, like, we were just talking about 2017, 2018, and then just like, it's just, the games are just getting like orgasmically good. and I kind of felt like Root was kind of different from the rest of them. So that's why I picked it. That's my number 6. Root!
My number 6 comes from the not so distant future of 2019.
Oh.
The game I chose to stand out in this one was Marvel Champions.
Okay.
Because it's kind of a hybrid LCG of the other stuff. I mean, it takes some Arkham stuff, it takes some Lord of the Rings stuff, and mixes them together. Other games this year we had discussed. We just top of 2019, Sorcerer, Empires of the North, Star Wars, Outer Rim.
Yeah.
There was other ones. I didn't play a lot of the ones like Tainted Grail would have been this year.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff went down. So, if I would have played more of those games, this probably would have been higher. But my peak of my gaming is more the middle of the decade.
Oh yeah,
like you're gonna see a lot of that, like the newer stuff, because anything, it almost seems like, because we were talking about 2017, I was looking at everything I put down here, everything except for Altiplano or Kickstarter.
Yeah, that's true.
So Kickstarter's really started becoming
dominating the market. Yeah,
the main thing.
Yep. I mean, business-wise, it makes sense. And hell, if we're getting these fantastic games from Kickstarter, keep doing it.
So anyway, like I said, Marvel Champions is the newest LCG going right now. You're picking a hero or two, and you're going at taking a scenario on against villains, and It's deck construction just like all their other LCGs. It does deck construction better than Lord of the Rings because Lord of the Rings used to take forever. I mean, it had so many cards. This one, half of your deck is already pre-made. You have to have what that hero does, and then you can just pick a. So deck construction is
simple,
so much simpler. And then it's just it takes some of the scenario examples from Arkham and stuff with that. So it's the unique popular LCG right now. We'll see how it matches up with other stuff as time goes. But yeah, that's my 6 is 2019 Marvel Champions.
Good deal. My number 5 is the game that I chose for 2013. You've already done 2013, right? You chose Viniculture.
Yeah.
Right? And that was your number 10, right? Yeah. So I would agree with you. 2013 was probably one of the weakest years to have come out in the games that I played. I've never played Converted and stuff like that. Concordia was another hot one
I haven't played
it, and I've been told I would like it. But like the game that I chose was Eldritch Horror.
Yeah.
Like this was kind of one in the string of games that I had played from that year. Like because I remember we were going back and doing top 10s for the years, and we stopped at 2013 because I'm like I can't pick 10. Eldritch Horror kind of. I wouldn't say it was revolutionary, but it was a breath of fresh air because the market was still being dominated kind of still by Cthulhu. It still is, but Arkham Horror was going. Now it's getting bloated. Then Eldritch Horror came out, and I think it was 2013 that I started gaming. At least I feel like because, and this one kind of holds a special place in my heart because this was when Kat and I had first moved in together, and then I was going to work, and I'm like, hey, will you set this up and teach it to me? Like I don't have time to do it, and then she did. And it was in this big, grandiose, streamlined scale coming from Arkham that was bloated and convoluted with its rule set. And I think still holds strong. There's no more expansions. There doesn't need to be any more expansion. That has so much life to it that it gave you that still same world, and actually in a bigger scale because you were saving the world instead of a town, that kind of almost perfected Ameritrash in my mind. And I very much like Eldritch Horror quite a bit, and like the storytelling you can get from it, the experience that I've had from playing it with friends throughout the years is just really strong. And out of those, I mean, like I mentioned, like I didn't see Viticulture, so that's still a really good one. But Eldritch Horror, just I think from nostalgic and like purposes, it's still up there for me. So that's my number 5, Eldritch Horror.
My number 5 choice I think is going to be like really high for you.
Okay.
Like 1 or 2 probably.
Okay.
And it's 2016.
Okay.
The year, not this game I'm going to say. I think that 2016 will be in your top 2.
Oh, gotcha. The year will be in my
2016. Okay. Yeah, because I picked Roleplayer.
Okay.
But the other stuff that came out that year was Aeon's End, Mansions of Madness 2nd Edition, Terraforming Mars, Scythe. I mean, like.
Just like, oh,
yeah, it was just it was an awesome year.
Just like you rub your... Never mind.
I picked Roleplayer as the standout in that because it was hard. I mean, there's a lot. But Roleplayer...
I'm surprised you did pick Roleplayer and not Aeon's End.
Yeah, I mean, they all kind of could be there.
Yeah.
I picked Roleplayer because I know Sagrada had the whole dice placement thing just before Roleplayer. I think it came out just before Roleplayer.
I think you're right.
Did. But, I've never played D&D. I've never played a role-playing deal.
Yeah.
And then this game makes it, you're just creating a character.
Yeah.
You're just rolling dice, and in somehow, some way, they've made this game where just choosing a dice and placing it, and you are literally can create a visual representation of what your person is like.
Mm-hmm.
You can create their character, their how they act,
attributes and stuff like that. Yep.
And then with the expansions, they've made it to where you can actually do stuff with these characters. But that's why I chose that one. I mean, Aeon's End could have just as easily been up here.
I agree.
The unique way that you when you buy stuff, you don't reshuffle your deck. You just flip it over.
Cooperative deck building,
right?
Like. I mean, hell, I was just looking at the list, and it was like 9s.
Right.
Like I'm just like,
and Mansions of Madness I could put because it was big time app. It was it was like the first.
Yep, and it had
big app.
It was like a 2nd edition that basically made the 1st edition obsolete.
Terraforming Mars. I mean, shit. What is it, number 3 all time, and it's
up there.
And it's just it's
engine building.
Yeah, engine building and
tiling,
tableau, and all that crap, and then of course Scythe. Scythe's not my favorite in the world, but it's fucking awesome.
Yeah,
I mean, it is one of those that took the hype that we were talking about with like Tapestry and a disappointing deal, and actually lived up to it.
Yeah, that's true.
And stuff like that. So I think, I mean, I know it's my number 5, but
I was like, man,
I know it's a really great year, but these other years are right there too. Yeah, but that's my number 5, 2016 Roleplayer. Good
deal. Yeah, so my number 4 is from the year of 2012, which I have a feeling is going to be your number 1 year. Because 2012, I mean, still, like, it was still early enough that you were. It doesn't feel like you were getting the bangers that are coming out like now, but like when you look at it, you're like, yep, that's amazing. There's just so many staples. Like, once again, that's what makes it great. Is like all the games that are most recent years. We can't call them staples because they're brand new, but they're still amazing games. These ones are amazing games, and they're sticking around. So the game that I picked is Smash Up. And this one was very difficult for me to pick because in that same year you had Robinson Crusoe, which is kind of an iconic cooperative game that was known for being difficult. X-Wing Miniatures, which is not my favorite, but like that list, it did list building in a miniatures format, but was so like it hit on all scopes of like casuals can play it and have a great time, and then you have your competition. Lords of Waterdeep is your bog standard kind of worker placement, but a lot of people appreciate for that. But Smash Up was kind of one of those games that just felt kind of different from the rest. I can't think of any of these games that came out this year that kind of had that amalgamation of all these different factions do something different. You put them together, and then you have a completely different.
It was unique. It was unique.
Yeah, I mean, and not to mention the 900 expansions that have been released since then. But whenever it comes to Smash Up, is like, because a lot of card games come out. I mean, for fucking ever. And when you look at Smash Up, you're like, well, Sorcerer has kind of done what it does, but I mean, I don't think it's perfected what Smash Up did. But also, Smash Up is more like, I've never had a game that I could be like, oh, let's get 3 people together, even 4, and be like, oh, yep, let's do this, and let's have a balance of decks out of the 50 that are out. It's just an amazing experience of a game that came out 7 years ago that is still, top tier kind of gaming. So
I would call that game in itself a feat in playtesting.
Yeah,
because can you imagine?
That's true.
I mean, you'd have to play that faction with every single faction to see how powerful it was.
Yeah, I mean that's true.
I'm just saying, God, the playtesting,
right? Because if you think about it, like when games like Magic the Gathering, for example, come out, they just they have said, well, we don't playtest these. They just release it and then they ban cards as they find the players who break it. So you're right. Like Smash Up can't do that.
Well, and I don't think there's been any card corrections or facts or anything with Smash Up. I think it's just
nope. It's always worked, and I mean, clearly people have their favorite combinations of stuff, but like, I haven't found it to be like, oh, that faction is broken. It's like I can beat it. Like, so Smash Up was like you said, a feat in and of itself, and it's my number 4.
All right, my number.
What else came out?
4.
Yeah, I mean,
my number 4 is 2018.
Okay, so I did my 2018 already.
Yeah, what did you pick?
I picked Root.
Okay,
for it. And
I have that as one of my choices on the side.
Good deal.
The game I chose was Folklore: The Affliction.
I can see why you would pick that one. I forgot they came out in 2018. Actually,
that one, it's a unique kind of story-driven game where it's like playing an RPG but not really playing an RPG. It brings miniatures. It's a unique conglomeration of different types of games. I think the thing that's unique about it, and I know there's been other games that's done this, but not in my knowledge. It almost has the old Final Fantasy thing, like you'll be moving along the world and then all of a sudden you'll have an encounter, and it's like and then you play the new tile down, and then it becomes a spatial tactical battle. You know, it's open world in a way. I mean, you can go off road and do stuff. I mean, it has a
lot of like. I'm gonna call it tedious, but I don't mean it in a negative way. A lot of tedious rules where it's like, you have so many cards for off road and things like that, and actions that you can do that most games of that ilk kind of gloss over.
Right. And I do like the fact that initially I was disappointed in this fact that you really don't go story to story.
Oh, yeah.
In a way, but it's kind of nice in a way too, because long campaigns are hard to finish.
Yeah.
You know, so if you think of like Arcadia Quest, it's a 6 mission campaign or whatever, and you're done. You know, and it's not like it's 13, 14, 15 like some other games.
Yeah.
This was my first stint into this kind of genre of gaming.
Okay.
With the whole open world, like you're rolling percentile dice. Like I've never played a game where you roll percentile dice before and stuff like that. So it really got my foot kind of in the door to this, where I kind of want to start. I kind of want to play more role playing kind of things.
Yeah.
And then of course the unique fantasy tropes with it. You know, not having the basic, you know, barbarian and wizard.
Right.
You know, you have the butcher and the
madman. There's like an illusionist.
What's the lady? Yeah, the illusionist, and there was
they have a scientist. They have a witch hunter.
Yeah, the witch hunter. They just have all kinds of crazy, unique deals, and they each have their own skill tree. Mm-hmm. You know, so you choose there's two options right off the bat if you want your witch hunter to be this type of witch hunter or this type.
Yeah. And
then that branches off of that. And then when you go to town, there's only certain things that certain people can buy, you know? So, I mean,
it's probably, like, when you think about it, one of the more truer RPG board games. Like, I know that clearly Gloomhaven and stuff like that, but it's like those are still more simplistic, but you have a lot of stuff that are in video games for RPGs like that were pulled into a board game.
And not to mention, there isn't very many miniatures games that print their damn names on the bottom of the miniature.
There's none.
That is their...
Like, that's so good. Now, the miniatures are kind of shitty.
Yeah, they're not the greatest.
But still, like, I'll take that. I'll take a decent mini with the name of what it is on the bottom.
And this last Kickstarter that they just had for the expansion, they were the first one, to my knowledge, that came out with the huge monster box. It's going to have...
Deep Madness.
Deep Madness did?
They just did it, yeah.
Well, was it before or after Folklore?
I just got it.
So you just got it.
So it's before.
Okay. Well, anyway.
But still...
having the drawers where you can put all your miniatures in and not having... That's...
Yeah, that's going to be nice.
Anyway, that year, I put Architects of the West Kingdom as a choice. Chronicles of Crime, Detective. Stuff like that.
Have you played Teotihuacan?
No, I have not.
Yeah,
I want to.
Yeah, I mean that year was solid.
Yeah.
Deep Madness was there. Like CO2 Second Chance, I would have picked that one, but it's Second Chance, so I didn't feel right picking a second edition. I didn't think it was as influential. But yeah, 2018 was a really, really good year. Yeah. That's your number 4, right?
Yeah, and then when we get to my 3, 2, and 1, these next 3 are a big chunk ahead of everything else now.
Oh, okay.
Like and then my number 1 is even further in front of everything.
In front of everything.
My number 1's like
nothing can touch that year.
Yeah, it's I don't know if it'll ever be beaten that year.
Damn. Okay.
I mean, that's
okay. So my number 3 is from the year of 2017, and like you had mentioned, there's so many huge games came out that year, and so many Like, you picked Dinosaur Island for that one, which is really good, but hell, there's fucking this War of Mine.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
But the game that I picked for 2017 that I felt was the most unique from all of them is actually Seventh Continent.
That's true, I forgot.
I did not pick Gloomhaven, even though that's clearly the obvious choice. I like Gloomhaven, but I really like it just barely than Seventh Continent. But to my knowledge, nothing had come out that was like, hey, here's 5,000 cards, explore, like a survival...
just go.
Yeah, and be like, okay, yep, this is what you want to do. and you explore, and you have like oh, it's like, wait, what is that? And you can like it's like see and be like, oh, there's a 13, and then you like look, and then you get to pull that card out, and you're like just sense of like survival and being able to do all this unique like card mechanic. It's just all cards. That's all it is. And you have little minis that really just at least show you where you're at. But then they release their expansion where now it's like you have cards that are up in the sky, and you have weather and all these different things that can affect the world. And one of the games, I know other games that came out, I actually have one over there, Colonist, came out in 2016, that had a save system. But this is one of the few games that actually kind of made it seamless, where it's just like, oh, yep, just organize these cards, and then you play, and then whenever you come back, you can actually have different cards lay out, because it's like, well, the world's kind of changing. Mm-hmm. So even though, like I mentioned, Gloomhaven like came out that year, and it's number 1, and I mean, Seventh Continent's number 16, but it's like, do you just have such a unique, innovative world that now games that have Tainted Grail have kind of done that card map thing, which I think is fantastic. I want more games to do that than just, hey, here's a board, like, because I always like, I did my top 10 board game mechanisms and modular boards on it, because that's always just fun, especially if it alternates and changes. Twilight Imperium 4th edition came out that year. I couldn't feel like, it's like, well, it's a 4th edition. It's essentially 3rd, but streamlined.
Right.
Couldn't do that. Gaia Project is a game I really want to play. I haven't had a chance. Like, Massive Darkness sucks ass. Anachrony, like a heavy Euro game that actually did, like, this year, man, 2017 was just, I mean, you mentioned Dinosaur Island, Sagrada was 2017.
Okay. So it was a year before.
Yep. Folklore of the Affliction is 2017.
Well, it says 28, I think the Kickstarter people from the one got it.
Oh, that might be it. Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah,
it's kind of like the Smash Up. Not Smash Up, the Spirit Island.
That's true.
Thing, I think.
Yeah. So Feudum. I mean, Feudum is definitely for a niche group of people. More like me, Feudum, the intellects, the ones who can understand the game. No kidding. Yeah, it's just this game was so hard, but I had to pick Seventh Continent because out of all those, there's been RPGs done before. Okay, so I was like, Gloomhaven's out. Like nothing in my mind was ever like Seventh Continent. So had to pick that. That's my number 3.
Yeah, that definitely was the most unique one. No, hardly any setup either. You just set it down.
You just put it down. You have all the cards over here, right. And you're like, well, I mean, like, yeah.
That's one I needed. I should have bought back in the day.
I remember that was actually the first Kickstarter that I spent like $400 on, like, to get everything. I know one you did Folklore. You did everything for Folklore. Yeah. So, yeah. Since then, I usually it's like, oh, where's the all-in pledge? Yeah. For some games, but they're actually about to do another one called the Seventh Citadel.
Oh, really?
And it's supposed to be like kind of. I think it was like supposed to be like dark fantasy. So, definitely going all in on that one.
Hey, so that was your 3?
That was my 3. So
all right. So here's my 3, and this is my first. This is my big jump from 4 to 3.
Okay.
And this is 2012.
Okay.
Which is the one you thought might be my number 1.
Yep. That is surprising. I'm very... I don't even know what you picked yet.
Well, the game I chose... there's a lot of top-notch stuff in here. The game I chose for that year was Marvel Legendary.
Really?
I chose Marvel Legendary because...
See, that's interesting.
Well, and there's a reason. But I mean, because... I'll get to the other stuff here in a second. Yeah. But... Marvel Legendary I chose because, yes, it uses the same deck builder mechanic as other stuff, right?
Okay.
But it was the first game. It started the Legendary series.
Okay.
So all the Legendary games that came after it used the same. It was the first one that had the tracking.
Oh, okay.
Deal that became a threat.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like where you had a mastermind and the cards would come out of the deck and move further. So spatial recognition of the cards that you were battling. It had schemes. It had the your mastermind.
Yeah.
It was where you had 3 levels of mastermind, 3 or 4 levels of mastermind. I can't remember.
I think they vary.
Yeah, it depends on the deal. You would choose 5 heroes, any 5 heroes, and they have every fucking hero imaginable.
Yeah.
That you choose for that. So it does use the basic deck building deals, but coming up with that way of making a boring deck builder have theme.
Sure.
That was why I chose it.
Okay.
Because with the exception of Thunderstone back in the day,
Yeah.
I mean, this was kind of your theme maker, because
That's
after
true.
this was you had your Alien or Legendary Encounters Alien, and all those came from this, you know.
Yeah.
So that's why I chose it. Now, if Netrunner was still going right now, that would probably be my number one because of it being the first.
Oh, you're right. That was 2012.
Because of it being the first asynchronous LCG game. Because I mean, it was it.
That's
you
true.
know? So it came out that year. I had Smash Up.
Yeah, I'm really
Written
surprised you did
down.
not pick out. So
That-
you like Marvel Legendary over Smash Up?
They're right there next to
Really?
I mean,
Wow.
I can't play Smash Up solo.
That's
That's
true.
That's
You
probably why there's a delineation. The only delineation.
There you go.
I mean, if playing Smash Up solo because sad. I'm gonna go here. Oh yeah, but I'm gonna go here too.
Ooh, good move.
Right.
Thanks.
I just gotta get up and walk around the table.
As your wife is packing up bags, she's getting
Right.
ready to leave you.
Well, and I had X-Wing and Waterdeep written down too.
Yeah.
Waterdeep was actually one of the first ones that got my family into non-basic gaming.
Yeah.
Like teaching them that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the big jump came because Marvel Legendary is the shit, and Netrunner was my life game. Like, that game I lived for
Yeah.
from the time it came out and until it died.
Yeah.
So that alone is why 2012
All right.
is up there.
All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. Well, then we might not have any crossover. But, okay. So my number 2 comes from the old year of 2019. And like we just went over, we just talked about our top 10 games of 2019. There was just so many great games. But similar to my choice for number 3, which was Seventh Continent, I think this one stands above the rest in terms of what it's done and because it basically fires on all cylinders. Great storytelling, great gameplay. It's Tainted Grail.
Yeah.
I think that Tainted Grail is so far above and beyond the rest that have come out this year, and there have been some phenomenal things. But everyone's like, oh, it's like Seventh Continent and Gloomhaven, which very lightly, and like I mentioned before, it's just not a lot of games that come out. Because you can have video games and movies that have stellar storytelling and stuff like that, but board games, sometimes it's kind of hard to do so.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And I think Tainted Grail does a fantastic job of that. The sense of exploration that Seventh Continent gave, it does just as well. The world building is absolutely unique. That's something Awakened Realms does really good with, giving you a sense of emotion and exploration and wonder. It's been a long time since I've whenever I'm enveloped in a story that I'm excited to see what's coming next, and Tainted Grail does that really well, and they back it up with phenomenal gameplay. They do the combat really well. The deck building of both your decks with diplomacy and combat is really good. The fact that your character is actually important and involved in the story and somehow, and you can go branching paths. It's just it's essentially, to me, it's almost like a masterpiece with just the fact that it's coming out this year. And Awakened Realms has kind of made a name for themselves. So 2019 is fucking great. And after looking through literally all of these, we really are pretty blessed with some phenomenal games that are coming out that distract us from the mundane reality. So that's my pick for 2019.
All right, so number 2.
Yep.
My number 2 is 2015.
2015. Okay.
My choice.
Pandemic Legacy.
No, I have it written in
Do you?
here
Okay.
as a parenthesis thing
'cause-
because it was obviously a groundbreaking thing.
Right.
I have them split here. I can't decide which one to choose.
Oh, I'm pulling it up.
I have it split, and I'll choose one. I have it split between Champions of Midgard and Raiders of the North Sea. Now, Raiders of the North Sea is more unique, I think.
Yeah.
Just because of that placement.
Mm-hmm.
Because worker placement's one of my favorite mechanisms anyway.
Yep.
And it feels good, even if you're taking shitty actions, because that's what's there, to be able to get two things instead of just placing, gain that, wait your next turn.
Yep.
You're dropping, picking up, and it adds more strategy into the fact where you may not want to pick up something because then that's going to let them place and then pick up something.
Right,
it adds
right.
that extra level of worker placement strategy.
I mean,
so yes, so Raiders North Sea is my pick.
Because I mean, Raiders. I'm not the biggest fan of Raiders of the North Sea, but I will very much agree that like that company, first of all, figures out ways to make worker placement fresh and exciting. Because most of it is okay. I'm gonna go there, and that's that. And but now, with Raiders, it was kind of one of the first ones I was like, oh, you place and pick, which sounds so simple, but it's like it works.
Well, and then they also make it where only certain colors of meeples can go certain places. So then you have to...
Oh, you're right, yeah.
So like only the blacks and the grays can go in certain places. And then you don't get the whites or whatever until you're way later. And then it starts getting them into the game. So it kind of makes the really powerful ones not... You have to work up to it.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
But the other ones I would have had that year, obviously, is Champions of Midgard. Blood Rage was huge... that was like Simon's big,
like
I mean, I know they had zombie side and stuff like that, but this was like their big area control, just
like giant like it's not like these monsters are here, but these monsters are mine. You know, card drafting. Like Blood Rage should have been my pick, but I think Legacy.
Yeah, I mean that one
kind of was set the tone, but like, I mean, Blood Rage is like I feel like Simon's still trying to catch that high.
Well, like because they didn't overcharge for it either. It was
exactly.
It was like $75 for the pledge, and then if you added the fifth player expansion, I ended up paying like $105 or whatever, and you got all this crap.
And then they're like, wait, we didn't make any money off that. Let's keep and now I just feel like it almost feels like they're scrambling to try and make another Blood Rage.
Which we have Ankh coming out next year.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I like Rising Sun better than Blood Rage.
We'll see what Ankh does, because I love Egyptian stuff better than Japanese, so I think I'll be all over Egyptian stuff. So, but anyway, so 2015, like I said, I had two of my top 10 games. Marco Polo I had written down as well.
Yeah, that's when Viniculture Essential Edition came out.
Right. So...
and then I know a game that you haven't played, but that's kind of revolutionary in and of itself. It's at this point, like I love the game and I've spent way too much money on it. But Kingdom Death Monster came out that year, and it's like, I mean, that's a beast in and of itself. Like that I could have picked, but since it's so much money, like I couldn't realistically be like, well, the masses didn't play this. It's a niche group, so Pandemic Legacy. But so 2015 was a really really good year. Oh, Seven Wonders Duel.
Oh yeah, I didn't write that down. Yeah,
like that.
That was a good
Time Stories, which is, I mean, I guess innovative and unique, but I really don't like.
Back then, it was definitely it was the first
like Dexploration game. Yeah, you're like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, it was kind of the innovator in that, and then it got surpassed.
Yeah, it did. So my number one game of the decade came out in 2016. Like you had mentioned, it would be my number one or two. Scythe. So Scythe just was kind of like you had mentioned, was a game that had the hype going for it and like surpassed it. And ever since then, they've released relevant expansions like the Invaders from Wind's Gambit and then the campaign Rise of Fenris. 2016 was such a good year for gaming that whenever you were talking about yours, what did you pick for it again?
For 2016?
Yeah.
Roleplayer, but I mean, it could have been just as easily Aeon's End, Mansion of Madness, Terraforming Mars, Scythe. I mean, that was a really big toss-up year.
Like, here's how mine goes. Like, from the top. So, Scythe out of 10, Terraforming Mars, 9, Arkham Horror the Card Game, 9, Star Wars Rebellion, 7, Mansion, 9, Great Western Trail, 9, Maximum 8.5, like it's just, and then we get into, like, Seafall, 3, but, like, Santorini, Inish, Captain Sonar, Aeon's End, Cry Havoc, The Others... Like, all these games in 2016, it's just like, god damn. Like, can you give us a break? Give us a shitty game. And, like, out of all those, Scythe has been one that was this big grandiose game that was based out of the artwork that had theme that was like a mellow Euro with combat, and was another game that was actually the first solo game I ever played. That I was like, man, I can do this too. It just fires on all cylinders, and then the expansions are amazing, which came out later. But it was even a game that didn't even need expansions, and like, I just think Scythe is phenomenal. And I mean, it was just, I think with the Kickstarter hype of it, that's kind of what set it apart from the others. But man, like you'd mentioned, Terraform Mars, all those games could just easily be picked. If someone was like, "Oh, my game of the decade is Terraform," I'd be like, "Yeah, you're right." So that's my number
it's
one.
the highest rated on BGG. Terraforming Mars is of all those.
Out of all those, I think it's
number 3.
I think you're right. Here, I'll look it up. It is. Yep, it is number 3. Star Wars Rebellion is number 8. That's kind of gross. But Great Western Trail is 11. Mansion's 29.
I've never played Great Western Trail.
It's fucking
good. I hear it's good. It's just...
A Feast for Odin came out that year. I haven't played it. 24. Clank, 59. Like, if you really look at it, this is the basically all the top 100 games are from 2016. Scythe is number 10. So, like, yeah. Aeon's End, 76.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my number one game of the decade.
All right. My number 1, what year have I not said?
Oh, 2014.
2014, yeah. 2014, this year, you're going to be able to look and see more games. There's this year above all others. It may not have the quantity like 2016, but the quality, especially 3 of the 4 I listed, but
yeah.
But
I mean, especially of like the staples. That
the 4 games I listed are all in my top 10.
Okay.
So I mean, that's why it was obvious to me.
Sure.
My choice is Orleans.
Yeah.
Obviously, because of the bag building. Because
I'm really surprised though that 5 Tribes wouldn't have.
Well, 5 Tribes was listed.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm telling you, Orleans wasn't a shoe-in.
Okay.
Because it was between Orleans, 5 Tribes, and Shadows of Brimstone.
Oh shit! Did that come out?
Those were my 3. Those were my 3 main. Like, I was like, okay, which one's going to be it?
Okay.
Brimstone, I pushed back. I pushed Brimstone to the back because I was like, it's unique, but yet it's not like. I mean, it's not like miniatures.
I guess it's not like amazing as
But then I was like, okay, 5 Tribes in Orleans. I was like, 5 Tribes uses the Mancala thing and does crazy shit with it, and Orleans, so it was almost like, okay, now I'm going to come down. They were right here, so it's almost like a 1A and 1B, Yeah. My other one I listed on there that was in my top 10, I know it's not a popular deal on BGG, is Fireteam Zero. I have it listed.
I feel like they just did piss poor marketing for that game.
I think they did. Like, it's if we did an underrated list, it would probably.
I do actually have one made if you want to make one up under the radar games.
Because Fireteam Zero would have to be on that list.
Somewhere I'm looking for it.
Well, Emergent Games I don't even think is a thing anymore. If you go to their website, it's gone.
Oh, really?
I think their website's like not even.
King of New York came out that year too.
What?
King of New York.
Oh yeah. So I mean, 24. Like I said, numbers wise, it may not, because if I was choosing my
paperback. Okay.
Number wise, 2016 had the numbers for so like if you were looking at BGG rankings and stuff. My personal was 2014 just because of like the games that are in my almost half of my top 10 is in that decade.
Right.
That's why.
I mean, here's the other thing is like we look at these 2014 games. Yeah, like I had like 30 ranked and they were all good, but that's because like I've been gaming. Like my channel is. I mean, I wouldn't say it's kicked off, but like I was more into that. I clearly have made more money, so I'm able to buy more games. So. It was easier for me to look at 2016 and be like, wow, these are all amazing. But still, in 2014, like, all those games, it's been 5 years, and they're still sticking around. And some of them are still getting support. Roll for the Galaxy is 2014, and just got an expansion. So yeah, like, I mean, I totally get it. I'm really trying to find Fireteam Zero.
Yeah, I wonder where it's ranked at.
Because the underrated list that I was talking about, I picked games between ranked 3,000 to 10,000. So I'd be interested to see where that is. But you're right. Actually, Fireteam Zero is 2015.
This is 2014 in the italics. It was a Kickstarter game, so it falls into that thing again.
Gotcha.
Because the italics say 2014.
Yeah, that's why fucking BG.
It's ranked 1262.
Yep. So I wouldn't have thought it in my scope.
I know, but I was just looking at my top 100 as well.
Sure.
Knowing, and
sure
and everything, but
yeah.
But yeah. So Orleans crossover for that year.
There we go.
But that was my game of the decade.
Awesome.
So mine was Orleans, and yours was
Scythe.
Yep.
So I mean, and that's the thing is 3 years ago, but like we mentioned with the fluctuation of people looking at games, it's just if it's not the new hotness, then it's not good. And it's look, I mean, I understand Tainted Grail made my number 2 of the year, but I mean, this is just at this point in time. But these are all just phenomenal games, and don't just focus on the newest. There are stellar games that came out years ago that deserve some love, and I mean, it's been a fantastic decade. I mean, it's just like we mentioned. It just kind of what was your weak year? 2011.
My weakest was hold on.
2011, 2013.
2013 was the lowest.
So I mean, it's basically been boom. There's a boom of uniqueness and innovation, then it kind of dipped, and then I feel like it's just kind of skyrocketing towards great games. But that's it, everyone. That's our what?
I was just gonna make a joke. I was like, next video is gonna be our decade 2000 to 2009.
Oh God, I don't even know if I could.
I know.
But that's our games of the decade. It's been a wonderful year. Let us know what your favorite games of the decade are in the comments below. Other than that, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching this, and if you like this video, then click the subscribe button below to enjoy any video that I put out. And right next to that subscribe button is a little bell. Click that so you get notified of whenever I actually upload these videos. If you want to support the channel, you can definitely visit my Patreon page. The link is in the description below. Other than that, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.